Buy yourself a lazy poon, guys.
Lazy lampoon. Yeah.
Lazy lampoon. I don't drool.
Worse.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Yacht Club Podcast. This is episode number
12.
Or plug in here, whatever episode this is, so you get out of order. But if you're clicking on this, it's because we're interviewing today Angie Just Shoot Me and Luda the Shooter, both photographers and videographers in the Houston community and also nationwide, right? Because y'all travel. Yeah, so they've shot with artists like Travis Scott, Blueface, right?
Blueface, baby.
And then some collaboration with Drake, even. And we're going to talk about that too. They both make YouTube videos and also do weddings full time. So can you guys talk about that?
Wow, you really did your research.
Yeah, I did.
You can go first.
First wait.
Tell us
Your
about
full-time photography job, yeah.
Well, like, how did you even start this? Like, what got you into, I guess we could start with you. What got you started into what you're doing?
Alright, so what got me in photography? So, were you ever on Tumblr? Yeah, so like around like 2011 to like 2013, I was on Tumblr really heavy, right?
Yeah.
And I was following like fashion blogs and like sneakers and shit. I've always loved it. And I saw like people were taking like dope ass pictures, you know, not just with their phone, but they had like professional setup.
Yeah.
So I kind of like looked at what people were using at the time. It was a Canon T3i. So all my favorite bloggers were using that camera. So I'm like, okay, let me buy this shit. So I bought my first camera. About a couple weeks after I bought my first camera, somebody offered me money to do a gig. So I was really just taking pictures for the internet, bro.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I wanted it for. But I noticed like people were actually like willing to spend money.
So they're fucking with the pictures that you were taking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, it was even before, because at that time, not everybody was doing photography like this. It was completely different back then.
Yeah.
So back then, even if you just had a camera, the fact that you had a camera, people were like, okay, well, let me get you to do this, you know? But now things are completely different. People have phones and shit like that. But yeah, so once people started paying me, you know, I just took off with it, you know, didn't look back.
Okay.
So it's been 6 years already.
6 years.
Yep.
So you said it was around the Tumblr time when everything kind of started picking up, right? What was that first gig that was just like, all right, this is what I'm going to keep doing now?
Okay, so it was actually, there was a sorority, right, at U of A. Shout out to Sigma Lambda Gamma. They hired me to do the chapter pictures, right? So I think I made like
They're what?
chapter pictures. So it's just like group pictures and shit.
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
So I think I made like $200 off of that in an hour of work.
Nice.
At that time, I was working part time on campus, right? So if I worked 20 hours a week, my paycheck was $200, right?
Okay.
I could work a week, or I could work 1 hour.
Yeah.
And then just, you feel like, let's be real, like what would you do?
Of course.
So, man, just after I started seeing that, my whole mentality switched. I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, work smarter, not harder, right?
Exactly, bro.
What about you?
Yeah.
You started recently. 2017.
Yeah. So I wasn't into any of. Yeah, my story's completely different. I've always had like Instagram, so I guess I was in that era where when Instagram was just out popping, whatever. So I was just posting my personal pictures, and I traveled a lot because that was what I like to do. I traveled like every month, at least once a month when I was in high school, college, went to festivals, whatever. And every time I post a picture, everyone's like, wow, that's so aesthetic, that's so cute, blah, blah. So January of, I think, 2018, I went to the LA trip, and they were like, hey, you should try out photography. And I was like, hey, how about not? But I'll vlog. But then my vlog turned into more photography, and then I just like started taking pictures of like strangers and everything. Turns out one of the strangers that I was taking pictures of, she was actually a photographer, a wedding photographer. And then after that, I still kind of hated it a little bit. But 2 months after, I met the Houston photography community, and this was when it was like popping. Like there was meetups and pop-ups and everything, like month after month after month. So that's what made me fall in love with photography. It's like the community and everything. And then I just got addicted and obsessed and just hustled while I was still in nursing school, or like striving to go to nursing school. So it was just like just trying to balance. And it was 6 months after when I realized like you could actually make a career out of this, because same thing with him, like people started asking me for photos, and then months after months I would just like increase my prices, and it turned into, wow, like this is keeping me stable, like independently, because I was already moved out and everything, but I had like side jobs and like restaurant jobs, and it was just so much work. So then finally, dropped out of school and became a full-time photographer, and never went back to it. So yeah, once I got like a little taste of an entrepreneur, like the creative side, I was just in it because I was raised just to know about the medical field and not the other side, so it was really cool.
Yeah. And what was that point whenever you knew that, whenever it first started monetizing, when did you know that it was like going to be able to support you?
Well, I didn't drop out of school until I knew it was able to support me,
Yeah.
because I wanted to have a plan before I even dropped out of school, because I didn't want to drop out of school and be like, okay, what now?
Yeah.
Or like I'm struggling to like put food on my table or whatever.
Yeah.
But when it came to like income, it made way more than me working like 3 jobs or like restaurants or side jobs or whatever. So I was able to pay for my utilities, my rent, you know, food, traveling still, while not being in school and just like living your best life, man.
So mine's a little different because I didn't know if I was gonna be stable. But see, here's the thing: like I quit my job in 2016. The last job I had was working at a shoe store in the Galleria, right? So before I even quit photography, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to like live off of that. I just knew that I didn't want to be doing what I was doing at the time.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So I just felt like I would rather take the risk than sit there and be miserable. So that's my story. So even when I quit school in 2015, right?
Yeah, we both quit school.
Yeah, and I didn't know what I was gonna do with photography. I didn't have a plan. So like her, she already had something going. I didn't have that. I was like, just fuck school, right?
Yeah.
Like I knew I didn't like that. So anything else would be better. That's what I felt like.
See,
Yeah.
I needed a plan.
What were you in school for?
I was in for marketing. So that was my thing. So it's like I wanted to go into like advertising and stuff like that. So I felt like if I was going to school to develop my skills to help somebody else and help grow somebody else's business, why apply those same skills to myself? It just made more sense, you know?
Yeah.
So so I was able to put that into practice. So yeah.
And I feel like because we don't have a plan B and we don't want to go to the old life or whatever, it pushes us harder to make like this full-time photography thing like a thing for us.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So you're on YouTube.
Yeah.
When did you start that?
So it was like the beginning of 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, put out my first video. I want to say like January of 2017, and that was just me wanting to switch things up because I was already starting to get bored with pictures. Like just my mind, you feel me? Just like my mind just does so many different things at once. So I was like, what's next? What's the next step? And me personally, like I'm a clout demon, bro. You feel me? Like that's just me. I'm a clout demon. Like I've always wanted to be in the spotlight. So I just felt like that was a way to help further my brand and help kind of let people know who I am. So really, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so like I saw one of your videos did like really good.
Okay, yeah. So I did.
Tell me about that. Like, did you have a specific strategy? Did someone teach you of like, all right, this is how you got to do it, or did you just put the video up and it just went and you're like, oh.
Okay, so for the people who don't know what he's talking about, it's the video is how to style Chelsea boots, right?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay, so at the time, Chelsea boots were pretty popular, and I just noticed like people wasn't wearing that shit right, like it didn't look right. So I'm like, okay, let me try to show people like just how I would do it, right? I had no expectations of it, bro. I was just putting stuff. It was probably like, if you look at my history, bro, it's like my 4th video.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing, bro. I just put it out there and it just started to take off. It just started to do numbers.
Okay.
And honestly, like, it's kind of embarrassing because, like, looking back, that video sucks, bro. It sucks. Like, the editing is terrible. The content is kind of terrible. So I even had to go back and put a disclaimer because once it hit 100K, I had to go back in the caption, like in the title. I was like, bro, like, please, like, my new stuff is bad. I was like, please don't judge me off of this video. So, but I mean, it's cool. I made, you make a check off of videos, bro. That's dope. Yeah.
Would you two ever continue YouTube? Is that something in your
Continuing
future?
YouTube?
I personally,
definitely.
I personally don't consider myself as a YouTuber.
You said, do we consider ourselves YouTubers?
No, like do you consider yourself continuing?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I want to.
Well, I will continue YouTube, but I don't consider myself as a YouTuber because YouTube's mainly because I'm just like a memory hoarder. So I just record.
It's for you,
yeah, it's for me because I just do like a lot of fun shit sometimes, and sometimes I'm just like, oh wait, let me just record this and just put it out there or whatever, and it's just for fun. Like I don't care how many views I get. I don't care how many subscribers or if I get paid or not. It's just me to look back and like reliving this moment. But then I do have boundaries where I'm like, oh, if it's like EDC or something, I'm just like, okay, I'm just not gonna vlog this and like just have fun with it, So
see, that's weird because like I know there's so much content that I could make, But it's a trade-off because it's like if you're vlogging an entire festival, right?
Like fun.
You know, you're not enjoying yourself.
Right.
You know, so it's like
hard. You've
Yeah.
done it. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's annoying.
Yeah. So that's why, like for Rolling Loud, like for instance, okay, I posted it on YouTube. The reason I vlogged that festival is because I've already been there. That's why I was like, you know what, this time I'm just gonna vlog it. So it's like more for like YouTube's like just more for me.
Yeah.
I've done it for like years and I just keep deleting stuff because I'm just a deleter apparently. But yes, I'm just a deleter. But yeah, that's about it. So that's the difference between us is like he can actually like go far in YouTube because I've seen him like this is his shit like. He loves fashion, music, and all that stuff. And for me, I'm just like, I like traveling festivals and just posting me having fun.
Yeah.
Well, that was the first thing I noticed. Asante threw up a video about an hour ago, the one I saw of you. And I think within the first 5 minutes, I was like, this guy should be on camera.
Yeah. Wait, which one? The transformation video?
Yeah, like just the way you speak on camera, your presence, the way you come off. It's just like you're naturally meant to be in front of a camera.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, because that's the cool thing. Because like, I feel like I don't have to try to be a certain way or anything, you know? And just because I noticed that like a lot of people on YouTube are just like, they're square, bro. Like just like very uptight and they're just like real shit. That's how I feel like there's like a formula. Hey guys, how are you doing? You know, like just like shit like that. And I don't do things like that. So I think it's cool. I know that there's a lot of kids who are like me who, you know, they get tired of that cookie cutter shit too. So, I just, try to portray things in a different way. And I think it's cool that people connect with that,
Yeah. It's good. I like it. It's natural.
Yeah.
How did you guys connect?
Through photography. Yeah, there's an organization we used to be a part of called Houston Visuals. So we would do like a lot of like photography related stuff in the community.
Yeah, they had what's it called? They had a meeting, and was when I recently joined too. So he hasn't even heard of me or anything.
Yeah.
So the guy who's in charge, like, hey, like pull up to this meeting. We're having a huge meetup soon, whatever. And at first I wasn't gonna go, but I pulled up, and that's where I met him. And he was like, bro, like, who is she? Like, like she annoying. But look at us now.
So it started through photography.
Okay.
Both. Did you have?
No, go ahead.
Both of you, like, even because right now the personal brand thing on Instagram is like just getting to the point where everyone wants to be a personal brand because they're seeing the value in that. But that's something that you two already had going on like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So how did you guys know, like, how are you guys
to create a
so
brand for
ahead
yourself?
of the game? Yeah.
I guess I don't know. It's the way we think.
It's just like,
I don't know.
cause I feel like some people have it and some people don't, right? So the people who already knew that they had it, they were already in that direction.
Yeah,
and like you said, then some people started to see, oh, this is what you can do while having, having a public page and having a public figure brings you this, right?
Yeah.
So people are starting to jump on it, but anybody who already had that mentality, they were already doing that in the first place. Nobody had to tell them.
And that's what I'm
to
saying,
do
like the business aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like we hopped in the photography game because like we wanted to be like entrepreneurs. We had that marketing mindset and like that money, revenue, and all that stuff going. So I guess it just started from there. It wasn't really like, oh snap, like I should make a brand for myself. It was already there for us.
But now, a lot of people want to be influencers and stuff. They don't really have anything to offer, But that's just how I say, just like the free market, everything regulates itself, right? So anybody who's not dedicated, anybody who doesn't have the talent, who doesn't have the content, eventually they're going to give up, or people just don't care, So it doesn't affect me.
Okay, so you said like one of your first, I guess, major gigs was doing a shoot for Soho, Trill, Sammy.
Oh yeah.
So how did that
How'd
go?
you do that?
I've seen your videos.
No shit.
Told
Really?
you they binge watch.
Okay.
They did research.
They did research.
That's some Narwhal shit. Yeah, that's crazy. My first opportunity. Shout out to Soho and Trill, Sammy. In 2016, they took me on my first tour. Right, it was just a Texas tour. It wasn't really nothing major, but we did Houston, Dallas.
Well, how'd they find you though? Like, why'd they pick you?
Bro, just in the scene, bro. Basically what I'm saying is I would go to a lot of shows. Yeah. And I learned how to finesse, right? So if I had my camera on me, I knew even like my mentality was if I don't have a ticket, I'm gonna find a way to get backstage. I'm gonna find a way to meet these people, and So just keep doing that, and eventually you start seeing the same faces, right? You start seeing the same people. You start dapping people up. Oh yeah, what's up? So one of those people was Soho, and I would just see him all the time. I would just snap him up, Never ask them to pay me or nothing like that. I would just snap him up. And I saw him at one event. This is like the day before they went on tour. I saw him at an event. I was like, bro, do you need a photographer? He's like, I'll let you know. Next day, he let me know like 3 hours before they left. He's like, yeah, let's go, pull up.
Nice.
Bro, so I just threw everything in a bag, just
Yeah.
jumped in, met him up, and I was on the Sprinter.
Yeah.
With me just a couple hours later. So yeah, just going out there and just taking that risk, but it's connections.
Well, see, that's actually a huge piece of advice that I tell people all the time. Is that the way to get connections or build a really strong foundation with somebody or anybody you want to work with is you give them free shit. Anything.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, like if there's people like there's a company called Puff Bar that I'm working with right now for these things right now, but I just send them a bunch of this shit for free.
Yeah.
And then at that point they're like, all right, this person's actually going out of their way to just provide value for me.
Yeah.
And then at that point they feel like, you know what, why don't I provide value back too?
Of course.
So I think the best way to start any relationship is you got to do things for free. You can't immediately demand something up front. And then
so here's the trade off with that. I was doing a lot of free shit for a lot of people. You get burned, bro.
Oh no,
you
do.
You know, not everybody shows that same love.
Yeah.
Right. So after a while, it starts changing your mentality. Like, okay, well, fuck that. Like, especially after you build yourself up, you get to a certain level, you have a value. I don't have to give anybody shit because I know what I'm capable of.
Right.
People know what I'm capable of. So yeah, I see what you're saying. You know, like it helps push you forward, but at a certain point, it's like I can't give it away for free.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about more so when you're beginning though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
But however, no, I feel like even as you continue your career, bro, I feel like you still should. Because I feel like I would probably be even further than I am now if I was more willing to, put myself out there like that.
Yeah.
But I get there's ego and pride in that, to be like, no, like I've worked too hard for this. You're not like, why are you getting anything for free?
Yeah.
Because me personally, all the big stuff that I've gotten, I've never gave them any free stuff.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I just didn't do. They just charged. No, I charged them just up the ass. Yeah.
And how do you respond to like close friends that want to shoot with you and then they?
I mean, if they support your business, they'll pay.
For the most part, people know better. With me, when it comes to me, they know better. Don't.
So unless I come up to them because I want a project done with my vision, I need them like model or whatever. Cool, but like vice versa.
See, that's one thing. Like with collabs, we have like really like a core group of people that we, like. If you look at my Instagram page, it's probably like the same five or six models.
Yeah.
So you know who
because
helps you
everyone
make the
can
best
fulfill
product.
your vision.
Yeah.
And you know how they work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What about like a question that I see asked to both of you a lot is how do you start charging as a photographer? Like how do you know like what rate to start at, and then like if people actually pay that, if you're gonna like what advice you had?
Honestly, cause let's see, when I started off charging, it was like $50. Then a few months later it went from $75, and a few months later it would go to $150, and now it's $450.
Yeah.
So you just have to keep, because once you improve your equipment and improve on your work and your editing skills and all that, you can start raising up your prices, but also like your clientele, because pricing period is just very difficult, because look, you have to know your self-worth, but then you have to please the Houston community, because Houston's not going to pay the same price as LA or New York.
Right.
And then you don't want to charge too much where you have no one coming to you, but you don't want to charge too little where it's not worth it. So you have to put all that together and find a balance, and that's what a lot of photographers do have to struggle with. But if you want to change your clientele, because this is what I tell people, is don't base it off your likes, engagement. Don't feel like you have to lower your prices because people can't afford you or you're not getting enough clients, because when you raise your prices, you're gonna weed out the people who can't pay and want discounts to the people who can pay, and bigger companies and like people with more money and all that stuff will pay for your worth and your time.
Yeah.
So that's just about it really when it comes to pricing.
Yeah, it's kind of trial and error too.
Yeah,
like you said, you throw a number out there, you see if people bite. If they don't like it, you kind of readjust.
That's why, like that's going back to when I was saying giving stuff out too. You guys know who Gary Vee is, right?
Of course. Yeah,
so he has this book called Jab, 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 Right Hook, right? And so that's like the model I go by. I'm not too familiar with the photography world.
No, for sure.
But the way I like to provide value is like I'll give you something, I'll show you my value, and then there's a certain point to where they're like, all right, now I need this guy.
Okay. So
and then at that point, it's like, you can demand what you want because they're like, fuck, I need this specific person. It's kind of like how you were taking just snaps of Sammy, it was, right?
Yeah.
And eventually he was like, fuck, this guy's dope. You know, I actually want him now.
Yeah. So, okay, I knew it sounded familiar when you said that about giving people, because I heard Gary Vee say it before too, right? So kind of transitioning into the other way, right? Like as a public figure, I guess you could say. I've noticed is my following now on Instagram is not really potential clients anymore. My following is more other photographers and other creators, right? So it's tapping into a different market. So like you said about giving value, right? YouTube video. If I do a video on editing street photography, I'm giving a different type of value to a different type of audience. You see what I'm saying? Right. So also my website is down right now, but when I did that video, I was giving away a free preset, right? So people, if they like the way I edited that picture, they can actually download the preset from my website, and apply it to their own stuff. Before I let my website go down or whatever, I had over 2,000 downloads on that, right? So that kind of showed me like people care. My audience wants that type of value. You see what I'm saying?
Because you're mainly like photographers, right?
So that was like me readjusting because I wasn't getting bookings from clients. Like that slowed down, so you kind of re-strategize.
Which is smart. It's good. It's good. The good thing about social media now too, because the jab, right hook, that's more of like a B2B service nowadays. That because social media is so big and so you can utilize it so much. Like you said, you could literally just put out high class photographs. That itself is gonna be enough worth for someone to be like, fuck, I want that person.
Of course.
Like I've seen your work. And it's like fantastic, like the photos you take and like the way you set it up, and it's just like off the charts. Like it's really creative stuff. And just looking at that, like anybody would be down to pay the price that you're like, all right, it's gonna cost this much if you want it to look this way.
So the thing now, from a strategy perspective, she puts out a dope picture, right? A potential client goes on her page and sees that picture. Oh, that's cool. I want that. Let me book her. On the other side of it, you post that same picture, you post how you edited it, you show the before and after, you show the process. Now you're appealing to the creators as well because they can see how you went from point A to point B. So you're killing two birds with one stone. So that's kind of what we're doing now.
Interesting.
Well, actually, I had to readjust on that part because before when I started photography, I did workshops, I did events, I did all girls meetup. But just like what he said, his following is mainly like photographers learning, blah, blah, etc. That's what also was my audience. But then I readjusted this year to changing my audience to actually clients because I actually stopped, selling my presets, my workshop guide, everything. Like I took everything out on my website, Instagram that's offering to photographers to like, I guess being selfish to myself because I want to focus on myself more this year. Just because like I'm changing from mainly doing portraits, events, or whatever to like weddings and couples, basically like rebranding myself. So that's at the point that I am right now. So I don't cater to photographers anymore. So that's why like my engagement's starting to change to more clients. So that's why when I post something, clients are like, okay, let me book you. Rather than like, oh, I just posted something and the photographer's just like liking it.
So it's cool. Like we pretty much do like the same thing as far as taking pictures and stuff, but just like two completely different approaches.
It's an interesting insight, especially the fact that you're a team and you can do both things.
Because you can't do one thing. Like nowadays, there's so many people who are looking for the full package. Like if you're doing video, learn how to do photography, but not just that, but behind the scenes as well. So learn how to creative direct, learn how to style, makeup, whatever. Like how many times when I would like go to a wedding and this bride is like, oh my god, my dress is messed up, or my hair, my makeup, and they're not there anymore, and
all
I'm
of a
there.
Sudden you turn into a tailor.
I turn into a tailor, and I'm there like cater to them to make their day. So you have to have like the full package.
Did you guys have any training on directing models? Because the one time that I've shot with both of you, you both were like completely blew every other photographer out of the water as far as directing.
Me personally, I guess like being a girl, we always take pictures or whatever, but when I started photography, I learned that you have to be good at that. So what I did was I watched videos, I went in front of mirrors, and I basically treated myself as a model. Because rather than just saying, hey, like move your hand over here or like tilt your head over there, rather than just saying that, you can also add on like your movements so they can mock you as well. So I just learned to treat myself as a model and learn poses that are good for me, and then like start with whatever they're comfortable with. Also, if you have music or whatever, you just have to like vibe with each other as like friends and not just like model and photographer.
So my approach to it, just being on Instagram so much, after a while social media starts to shape your brain in a different way, right? So even like as far as creating pictures, if I'm shooting with a model, I'm thinking like if I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw a picture, what would make me hit like, right? So as I'm looking through the camera, that's what I'm thinking about. What is it gonna look like on the feed? What is gonna make people engage with this picture, right? So that kind of like forms how I get the model to interact with the environment and stuff like that, Yeah, you already have to see the finished product in your head before you even create the product.
Yeah. No, it's good. Me and her literally had this talk last night because I posted a post last night. Yeah. And I typed out the caption. And
I saw that, by the way.
Yeah.
Kind of teared up a little bit.
Yesterday was like a huge day for me. So like I was like, I want to really, really do a good caption. I wrote it out and I sent it to her. And she's like, no. You need to change the first line. And she did it for me. And then everyone who was reposting it, that first line made so much more sense now because it's that first thing someone sees. Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. It's really good insight. I want to change topics a little bit because with success comes a lot of bullshit too. Why don't you guys tell me your worst experience?
Worst experience with photography?
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of like the one worst, but just along the road, bro, there's so much rejection, so many people telling you no. And just me personally, I'm not good with dealing with that. You feel me? Like, because I'm the type of person, like, if I want something, I'll figure a way to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
So that's just what I'm used to, right? But with this, when somebody says no, that's no, right? You can't really, like, finagle your way, right? So you have to just be able to accept L's. And I still struggle with that. Like, accepting L's, that shit is so hard for me.
I'm the same way. I think it's human nature. It's human nature.
Well, I feel like some people are better about that, just like kind of re-strategizing. But I take that shit to the heart. So that's just one thing, having to learn not to take things personal. So just because somebody tells you no, it doesn't mean that's because you suck or shit like that. It's just at that time.
They just don't see your vision at that moment.
At that moment. Yeah.
And I guess with me, since I don't really like reach out to people, I just let them come to me because that's just how I am. I don't really have that problem, I guess. But I think my worst experience was that time, the wedding guy that I worked with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, being a female photographer, you would think you don't experience, like, the same thing that, like, models do, because being a female model, when you work with certain photographers, their sexual harassment comes in.
Sure.
So, a lot of people actually don't know this. I think he's the only person that know, but when I was working with this other wedding photographer, I brought one camera, one lens, and he's been in the wedding game for like 10 years plus. And he was like, the first thing I came up, he was like, you only have one camera, you only have one lens, where's your stabilizer, where's your tripod, where's this and all that? So he was like doubting my equipment.
In front of the client.
And so he was like, I was watching all your videos and photos and they were so good and I thought you had more equipment. I'm like, no, this is all I have. Like, whatever,
Yeah. Isn't that a flex?
Yeah, I was like, isn't that like a flex? Like, you're over here with the whole luggage. I have like one thing.
Yeah.
But then like it got worse and worse and worse throughout the day. Like, he was just like criticizing me, like looking over my shoulder. I'm like, bro, like if you like my work, just let me do me. But I think the worst part was when we were about to leave, he was like, oh my God, let me see that. Because I had like anklet. He was like, let me see that anklet. I was like, okay, cool. It's like, it's for your wife, whatever, right? And he was like taking a picture of my foot. He was like, take your socks and shoes off.
There's some weirdo shit.
I was like, foot fetish? Like in my head, I was like, and I was in his car too because he was getting me Starbucks, like, because it was our break or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, get me out of this car. Like I'm literally shaking. I was like, okay. Then he started like rubbing on my shoulder. He was like, it's okay, blah, blah, blah. And I was,
no.
Yeah, so I dipped. Like, I didn't even complete the day. I called another videographer, and I was like, listen, I need you to replace me. I can't do this, whatever. So you would think as, like, a photographer, you have more control. Like, you don't have to deal with sexual harassment. That's another reason why I'm a photographer is because, like, when I shoot female models, and they're like, oh, I want a boudoir shoot, or I want, like, a lingerie, just, like, a sexy shoot, nude, whatever. I'm like, I got you. Like, I'm here. Like, you know. Yeah. And they would always tell me, like, stories of what they have to deal with, like, certain male photographers. And I'm just like, bro, like, I can never. Yeah. So, you know, I guess like male photographers and something, they also overlook me. They're like, oh, she's a female photographer, she can't do all this and blah blah. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm a boss ass bitch. You can turn them off. But that's like another thing that also gave me was like, yeah, I can't work for someone else. Like, this is why I'm my own boss and like I want to run my own shit and do my own weddings. And I just stopped like second shooting for a lot of wedding photographers from that point because I was like, I'm not dealing with that again. So I think that was my worst experience. Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah, I'm sorry. You had to go through that.
Good.
Wait, I'm actually curious about this. How do you guys work to, like, whenever you guys are working on your own stuff, how do you, like, what is that, what do you call it? What, do y'all guys, bounce ideas? Yeah, you buy, yeah. That.
Yeah, for the it's always good to have like a second set of eyes on things. You know, a second set of a second opinion. Because like I said, we do the same thing, but we approach things so differently.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just get stuck in your own mindset and you think things can only go one way. So it's dope to have like a wake up call where you have a fresh set of eyes on it. And they can kind of help you tweak things. So I think that's always good to have somebody in your corner. That you can kind of double check things with.
Yeah, and plus a clash sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but I feel like we work more together better than clashing. But since like we're so opposite and stuff on everything, like even our pictures, you can tell his is like in the dark side, I'm like in the happy side. It's just like everything's so opposite. So we have different aspects on things, but like he said, we do get stuck. We help each other out, and just I don't know, like working together just works. Especially because since we're in the same career field. If I have a problem with something like I don't get, because personally like I'm not good with like the technical stuff like Photoshop, Lightroom, all that stuff. Like he's more into that. Like I'll ask him for help. Yeah. And then like he'll ask me for help like when it comes to like clothes or models or like something like more girly side like makeup, hair. So Yeah. Whatever's missing, we help each other.
In the big picture, I think we kind of just let each other do our own thing though, because it's like. Because like I said, just because we are so different,
and we have our own brand,
so it's just so it's always just a matter of like, what do you think of this, So if I edit a picture, I think it looks good. I just ask, what do you think of it? What would you do? And
we personally don't ask each other about like the technical stuff that much. Like we just figure shit out on our own.
Because most of the time we know we're not going to agree, So we just avoid those arguments basically.
Yeah. How have y'all like grown as creators from each other? Like I know your style has changed up over the past year. What advice do you have for photographers that are discouraged because they feel like they can't find their style or they're not good in their style?
Yeah, a lot of photographers actually recently asked me that because that's what I recently did. Once I achieved my portraits and felt comfortable, switching from that to a couples and wedding page when all 9,000 of my followers came from that was scary. But at the same time, it's like you already have a portfolio. You have to think like Instagram is not your only platform. Right. You have business cards, you have brochures, you have flyers, you have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have a whole website where you can post the same stuff that you enjoy and do and people that's known for. But like it's just like experimenting. Like you have a chance to restart your feed and start something new and start something fresh to introduce new clients, to introduce new types of income and all that stuff. So yeah, it's scary, but once you like hop over that like mentality, you're good, and you just can't let that get to you. Like the numbers changing, the clients changing, like it's all a process. So that's just me personally.
Because our field is creative. There's no right or wrong way to do anything. So, just like, even I recently just like redeveloped my editing style, okay? So, looking back at the shit that I did last year, I think it sucks, right? At that time, I thought it was like the hottest shit ever, like, damn, like nobody's fucking with me, like this, that new shit. And then I look at it now, it wasn't all that.
Evolution.
Exactly. So, I just, just charged it to the game because the year before, that's how I felt about my shit from the year before, you see what I'm saying? So, this time next year, I probably might not like any of my stuff now. So, honestly, and I think that's the fun part, just to not let yourself get stagnant. You just keep pushing yourself, and along the way, some people are gonna like it, some people aren't. But it's not about them; it's about
because you're always improving, you're always learning new stuff. Like you're always finding about new things. There's always new technology. Period. So
that's actually it's a disadvantage, but it's an advantage as well, bro. Like. If you're doing accounting, you feel me? Like numbers never change. Numbers are gonna be numbers. Yes. But if you take pictures, a picture can be done so many different ways, or like even recently, like I'm re-editing my old stuff just to see how kind of how my things are changing. And it's cool. Like even you post it, you get that engagement, but just personally, I think it's cool to see like, well, this is how I did it this time, this is how I do it now. And, it's cool. It's cool.
That actually is cool. That's interesting.
And as far as social media, how has that affected your, not confidence and self-esteem, but trying to reference back to the dopamine fast?
Yeah.
Can you guys talk about that a little bit?
Okay, so
that was like a year ago.
You did that with us, right?
You did that.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, so social media.
We were supposed to.
Hold on, give me a preface on this because I don't understand.
So a dopamine fast is basically like throughout your day, right? You do a lot of shit to make you happy, right?
True.
From food, to jewel, nicotine, alcohol, talking to your friends, going out, and then social media, of course, your phone, scrolling. Whether you think about it or not, subconsciously it makes you happy, right? It's releasing dopamine in your brain.
Yeah.
So basically, we did this thing last year. It's called a dopamine fast, right? Where you cut all of that shit out, right? So for 24 hours from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, you have no contact with anybody. You don't eat. You only drink water. No phone, no books, no sunshine. Just lock yourself in a room just with a notepad. And just kind of just write down how you feel and stuff. Kind of like it's like a refresh for your brain, right? So so we did that last year. And, it was bro. That shit was so hard. that shit sucked, bro. That shit really sucked.
I failed like 2 hours prior to like the ending time. Like because when it hits nighttime, that's when it gets hard. Because that's when all like your dark thoughts and like all this stuff that you kept behind like your mind or whatever, it just comes out. And you're just in a dark room. So
hey, I believe it. So there's actually this program. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Vipassana. Okay, so it's actually this thing. It started in Dallas. It's in a bunch of places now too. But my mom is really into spiritualism. I'm a Buddhist. Okay. And I've seen that. Yeah. And basically, what it is, it's initially to get in, you have to apply, and it's a 10-day course, kind of like what you just said. But imagine doing that 10 days in a row. And what it does is kind of like what you said. So my mom was like, by the time she got to the third day, all these thoughts from her childhood were coming back, and she's like, everyone in the room is bawling, crying. Like you're releasing all the toxins and negativity through your body, but by the time you get out, you're like rejuvenated. And then from a 10-day course, you graduate to a 20 to a 30.
Oh,
yeah. I can't imagine. My mom did a 30-day course. Till this day, I don't even think I can do what you guys just said.
One day.
Yeah, I don't think I'm even mentally prepared to be able to try it yet, but it's definitely something that I want to look into.
Because that's the thing, like I said, all that stuff that I named, not only does it make you happy, but it's distractions as well. Yeah. Right? So you if you choose to, you don't have to think about shit. You don't have to think about your experiences. Or the things that are troubling you, or anything like that. You don't have to, because you have your phone in your pocket. You can escape you could do whatever you want at any time. So once you remove that from the equation, it's like you really have to take a look at who you are as a person.
And all the stuff that you've been like bottling up and stuff.
A lot of people aren't ready for that, But anyway, that's a whole different thing because you were talking about like the social media and stuff, right?
Like how has that affected
you?
Yeah,
I mean, we just did that to like refresh ourselves.
Well, because like I said, social media releases dopamine in your brain, right? When you post a fire ass picture, you start getting likes and comments and shit. I don't care who you are, it makes you feel some type of way, right? And it's kind of addicting. It's kind of addicting. So, now things are changing. Instagram, the algorithm and shit, they only show your stuff to like 10% of people, and just the whole thing is changing. So now, people who are used to getting 1,000+ likes on a picture, now you're only getting 300, and you're like, what the fuck is happening, right? So you don't get the same feeling that you used to get. And I can speak from personal experience, bro. Like that shit, it gets to you. It really does. You can kind of look at it like social media. It's not even real. That shit is fake. It means absolutely nothing. But when it's a part of your life for so long and it doesn't affect you the same way that it used to, it starts to eat at you. Yeah. And, you feel me?
So, for me, I actually experienced this before the Instagram algorithm changed. So I caught myself because like I said, when I started, I was addicted. All I wanted to do was hustle, be on Instagram. I forgot about my friends. I was clout chasing, using people for like, hey, like my stuff, retweet my stuff, blah, blah. Like that's all I care about. Just posting, follows, the numbers, everything, engagement. it got to the point where it was toxic, and I was like losing connections with friends, and like you realize who's your real ones, who's your fake ones, who's using you, who's not, you know. So a few months after, since I realized that, I actually, you know, didn't care about, you know, deleting my feed and the numbers and stuff and all that stuff. And then the Instagram algorithm changed and all that. So once it changed, it was like I was already in that mindset where I didn't care. So when that whole process happened, all I do now is just go on Instagram and post and then leave.
Right.
Yeah, so I didn't get that effect during the Instagram algorithm because of like that reason. It was just me catching myself being in that toxic social media chaser type deal.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about TikTok?
Heard it's a new thing now, and made an account like recently. Watched a lot of them, but haven't made any. So
He's cringing.
he's cringing right now. He hasn't even thought about it.
I don't think that's for me.
Yeah, let me give you some insight. So, I thought TikTok was absolute trash.
Yeah.
Right.
At first, yeah, I didn't think it was gonna work. Just
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
I didn't think
How
that shit
long
was
ago
gonna
has it been now? Maybe like 3 months.
Yeah, I watched your video about you
Going
guys.
viral.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm heavy on Gary,
Mhm.
Gary V. And obviously everyone knows he's pushing TikTok to the fucking heat, you know. So he's like, get on TikTok. He shows this clip about like in 2011 when he was like, everyone get on Instagram, no one's gonna be on Facebook, right? And he rewinded the clip, and now it's like today's day and age. He's like, get on TikTok, no one's gonna be on Instagram. And I saw that, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm not doing anything today. I made a TikTok. Within 3 or 4 days, I went viral, and like since that day, like any video I'm posting now, like shit, like literally, I'll be really honest with you. The reason this even started was because of TikTok. Yeah, I made a really silly video. It trended. The sales on the website like went bonkers, and then since then, that's the reason why all the smoke shops in Houston started buying from me now, because I have the social proof for it.
It's free attention.
Yeah.
It's free eyes on you.
Yeah.
And it's still organic right now. Before they just started advertising on it.
I would honestly recommend just getting on, giving it a shot, fuck around with it.
That's what I'm doing now. Like I just made an account.
Yeah, there's
and
no
just
harm in
watching
fucking
it.
around with it, and it could get addicting. I mean, honestly, you really don't know where it's gonna go, but at this point, from what the numbers are showing, the amount of people that are using Instagram on a daily basis, I think, is like over 1 million.
Yeah.
And right now, TikTok
It's
is
like what,
just
twice or 3 times more?
No, not more, but
Okay.
but it's like it's at passing like 750,000. But TikTok's only been active for a year.
Yeah.
So you can see that how quickly it's catching up to Instagram.
And that's the reason why I made an account, because I was like, crap, like I think really like TikTok is like the new Instagram. Like it's basically like Vine, but better. So before I even like I said, I made an account, watched a bunch of videos or whatever. But now my thing is like the business aspect. I'm like, okay, what should my feed be and what can I offer to TikTok before I even start posting videos? Because I don't want to just do it for fun. I want to put photography or whatever into it.
Right.
So that's where I'm at now.
And I understand that too, because it's tough too, because it depends on your field too, right? Like, I mean, if you're a fucking attorney and you go on TikTok and you're getting like young people watching you, like I don't really see the benefit of you getting, unless you just want the clout from the TikTok to come over to your Instagram page and then maybe find your business that way too. That's a way to look at it too.
Now that I'm thinking about it, bro, the only reason why I wasn't on TikTok is because I didn't know what kind of content I would put out, right? Because the majority of my work is just pictures. And that doesn't necessarily translate over to TikTok. So it's just like, honestly, after listening to it, I think it is for everybody. You just have to find a way to present it a certain way. Because you said attorneys, right? Yeah. Most people would think, that's boring. But at the same time, like, look at, like, the political climate as far as, like, relationship with cops and shit like that. So if an attorney was to get out there on TikTok and give little tidbits, this is how you interact with police, like, shit like that. 100%. That could go, that's just for anybody.
And
it is for
think
anybody.
about your YouTube video, but smash into a second video, like a small video. Like, you can post, like, before and afters. You can post behind the scenes of you shooting. You could post, like, your process of you, fucking around with the celebrities, etc.
And I didn't even know TikTok was like that, but that's just how it is, bro. Everything evolves. Cause shit, 5 years ago, everybody was on Facebook. Now, it's. Well, actually, people still go viral on Facebook though.
Yeah, I mean,
Facebook's
Facebook's doing really well with merch right now. Yeah. Like selling T-shirts, the Facebook Marketplace is doing really well. Like, I mean, I have this on the Facebook Marketplace too, and I get at least maybe 10 to 15 sales a day just on the market. I mean, it's really small numbers, but they're still moving. It's there, right? I wanted to ask you about the Drake thing because that actually, I saw your video and he didn't give you credit for that, which is, it's funny because my best friend Rome,
he was on the first episode of the podcast.
Yeah, he was our first guest on this podcast. He makes music here in Houston, and the guy has like an amazing catalog. He's been doing it for about 10 years, and you've heard that song Headlines, right? Like you know, whatever. He wrote the hook for that song. He didn't get credit for it though.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so when I saw your thing too, I was just like, "What the fuck's wrong with Drake, man?"
Yeah.
But yeah, what's up with that?
Damn, bro. First of all, that shit was old as fuck. That shit was like 2 years ago. But
how'd you even end up in that situation too?
I told you, bro, I'm a finesser, bro. I was just in the right place at the right time. I dropped the right name of who I was with, and people just went for it, and I was just there, right?
Yeah.
I just took advantage of the opportunity. So that's really all it was. It's not like, he called me up like, "Hey, Luda, I need you." I wish. But yeah, just right place at the right time.
Wait,
I just capitalize it.
He called you?
No, I was like, nah.
Hold on, bro. Take your phone out.
Yeah, I could tell people that if I wanted to, but but yeah, I just right place at the right time and just capitalize, right? So I dropped it on my page, not thinking anything of it, and next thing you know, just my phone just started right, just going crazy. I look on his page, and sure enough, he reposted the picture, and like people are like tagging me. Like it got to the point. It got to the point where people were like messaging me like, "Bro, like I can't tag you anymore because like Instagram like locked them out." Like you feel me? Like after a certain point, Instagram thinks it's spam.
Yeah, he locks his comments now too.
Well, no, but at that time it wasn't like that. But just off the strength of like people showing love, like, "Hey, this is Luda's picture." Like tag, like, not even without me telling them, right? Just people knew.
That's dope.
Yeah. So like I said, blessing and a curse, cause I never got credit out of that. It would have been dope, but at the same time, it was cool to see like that outpour of love. Like people knew that it was mine, and people were like willing to go hard to make sure that I got like people. I feel like the people cared about it more than I did, cause they just wanted to see like a Houston, photographer like come up like that. So so I didn't get the love from Drake, but I got the love from my people, and that means more.
Psychologically too, internally, that proves that you got something too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But my thing is like, it's not just celebrities. It's sometimes even models or like the regular people that you work with. It takes 2 seconds to tag and give credit. Like yesterday, I saw this person who made a Russ music video. He literally tagged MUA, stylists, dancers. Like it was a list of 30 people. If he was able to tag all those people, why can't like one model or one celebrity just tag one photographer?
Just like from the mentality, I feel like everybody wants a spotlight on them.
Yeah.
And they feel like by tagging somebody or giving somebody else attention, they feel like it's taken away from their light. Yeah. In reality, it's not like that, bro. You feel me? Like
there's enough food for everyone to eat.
I don't have to be in the shade in order for you to shine. You see what I'm saying? It's sunlight. What are you talking about? It's mad sunlight. There's sunlight. So I feel like we just need to get out of that because people just get so self-absorbed. They feel like not everybody's able to have opportunity, but
that's
in reality,
the intro to the video.
Yeah. There's sunlight, bro.
We're starting with that. Okay, Angie, tell me your best experience.
Oh.
Like the one that you were just like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like this just happened.
I would probably Travis Scott. Just cause I didn't have to finesse or do anything.
You talking about the shoe release?
The shoe release.
Tell me.
Yeah. So before Travis, I didn't really work with big artists or anything. It was more like bigger companies like Ink Master and all that stuff. Because he works with a lot of music artists. I personally don't. So Travis Scott was like my first like big artist.
Yeah.
Nike and this clothing line, Limitless or something, they emailed me because they found me through my website. Actually, see, Instagram's not everything, guys. Period.
SEO? Did you do that SEO on purpose?
She doesn't do SEO.
Yeah, I don't know what SEO is.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Okay, so they found me through my website. And they're like, "Hey, are you free this day? There's a shoe release, blah, blah." Cool. I was like, "Yeah, sure." It's like how much I was going to get paid. They showed me that check. I said, "Yes."
Yeah.
Soon did I find out, 2 days before the event, they're like, "By the way," because I guess they didn't want to NDA, all that stuff, made me sign everything.
Oh, you didn't even know who you were.
I didn't even know, yeah. So 2 days before something, they're like, "By the way, this is for Cactus Jack shoe release."
Oh,
for the Cactus Jack block party. I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, we need you, and we need you to find like a team of videographers, blah, blah, blah. So like I was in charge of like the media output of that event.
Yeah.
And this is out. I was just like, whoa. So
Yeah.
so I was just shooting and like following Travis Scott around, you know, being next to him, and then like just paparazzi, I guess, but also documenting the event. And it was just cool because like you didn't have to finesse, you didn't have to like work your way in or anything. It was just like an opportunity given, and they actually paid for your price. Like just receiving that check that says like Cactus Jack late with like just them and Nike, like it was just like mind blowing to me, you know. Cause and then also that's how you got it, because I finessed and I took like a media pass, and I said, hey, hey, finesse king here, why don't you have a pass too? And so we were just
there's a
having
YouTube
fun.
video on that, by the way. I put out
There
a video.
is. So yeah, so I think that was like the most fun, or like the best whatever in photography.
That's actually
Super
really
cool.
interesting. You want to check the camera real quick? Are we
Yeah,
good?
I did. We're good.
We're good?
We have like 8 minutes. You're gonna start wrapping up.
Okay. All right. So what are you guys looking like in the next 6 months? Like, what's the outlook? What's the goal here? Are you guys building towards like some sort of empires or a specific brand that you want to establish?
Yes.
Or what is it going to be, like a team thing? Are you guys doing 2 different entities?
It's regardless of what anything is, we're still gonna have our separate brands, but still work together if we need help. Because we actually don't really have a brand that's like together.
Sure.
And we're still 2 separate things.
Yeah.
For me in the next 6 months, like I said, I'm already rebranding. I have a website coming up. I'm switching from like the whole portraits, whatever, events, regular senior grads, all that stuff, to mainly portraits, couples, and weddings. And that's about it. Like I really just want to become like a really big wedding photographer and start doing destination weddings and all that stuff. There is a side of me that want to continue like editorial stuff, editorial as in like documenting like music artists and artists in general, and like taking studio shots of them and like following them around with like events and stuff. That's why my website is built into 2, so like there's 2 different platforms.
Interesting.
So my homepage will have like all that basic stuff, and then there'll be like a tab for all that editorial stuff, which I'm already doing. But then once you click weddings, it's like a totally different platform.
Cool.
So that's my future. Yours?
I wish I had a plan, but I don't really have a plan. I just be freestyling. But so within 6 months, I'm gonna be back on YouTube. That's a fact. So YouTube videos coming back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everybody can get on my DM.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
stop
Yeah,
commenting,
bro,
stop
'cause
DM me.
People go ham, brother. Where's the video, Luda?
Yeah.
Bitch. Sir, like, nah, but yeah. So back on YouTube, probably have some merch coming up, possibly, and start planning for my next big event. So Houston Hype. So that's like the big meetup that I do in Houston. I did it twice. So
Didn't do it this year.
yeah, fell out. But
What is it?
so
Huge
it's a
meetup.
big meetup
Yeah.
with all like the Houston creatives, like all the photographers, models, everybody just comes out and
I
just
think like
creates
300,
together.
500 people came out.
300, yeah. So count, yeah. It's like so. Just imagine like 300 people just like mobbing through downtown, just like
Taking
collaborating,
pictures,
just like taking
models.
It's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
So next year I want to do it bigger and better. So I'm trying to get like some corporate sponsors on deck, and
Sponsors.
see if I can make that happen. Just blow this shit up as big as possible. So yeah. So Houston Hype 3, that's on the way too. So yeah. So that's the most immediate plans.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yours
Cool.
is
Where
so
can they
different.
find you? Where
What?
can people find you?
In the streets.
Stop.
YouTube, Luda the Shooter, IG, Luda the Shooter, and Luda.cr2. And Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, everything Luda the Shooter. Yeah, so if you need me, holla at you.
Everything
Holla at your boy.
Angie, just shoot me.
Yep.
That's it, yeah.
Valid.
Okay. Hey, thanks for tuning in today. Again, leave us a couple of comments, as many as you can. Let us know how you liked the video. Tap a follow on everyone who is sitting in the room right now. And we hope to see you again soon.